This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1229, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
Just down the street there in Nashville is our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all, reporting live from Nashville, Tennessee.
And from L.A., he just got back to L.A. from Nashville. It's Marty.
Hey, guys, I'm here.
So it's good you guys are seeing each other. Did you guys hang out when Marty was in Nashville the last few days?
Yeah, Marty and Derek exclusively hung out without me. Yeah, that did happen.
Hung out with Derek. It was a great time. I'm not going to lie. We had a great time.
Is that why you said Nashville so hard on your intro?
Yeah. Just to because it seems like y'all forgot that I also live in Nashville.
To be frank with you,
as y'all were on the Pedal Tavern and everything, going through downtown Nashville without me.
Have you ever heard of the He-Man Woman Haters Club?
Yeah, I experienced it firsthand this weekend.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know why. Even though every week Cameron says downtown Emily Brown, Nashville's own, all these words. I thought you were from Dallas. And so in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to have Derek. I mean, here's the truth. You probably wouldn't even come, but I'm going to get flack for just not the invite. And that's something that I don't do. But, you know, I have friends that do that. I'll be in New York and they're like, hey, you didn't tell me you were here. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't see you anyway. And they're like, but you still have to tell me. But I'm like, I couldn't see you anyway. You know, it's like this circular situation. But we had a blast, me and Derek, and I had some friends with me. And on a high note, it was great. And next time, Emily, we're going to grab some coffee. Kid Rock's Bar. Is that where you wanted to go last time?
Yes, I've been begging y'all to go there.
You said, everyone come to the Kid Rock Bar. It's really good. It's America friendly.
I couldn't have hung out. Obviously, I'm in a different state. But even I was like, wait a second. Half the group chat is hanging out together and didn't tell the other half of the group chat, by the way, we're hanging out.
And the worst part is I just kept sending pictures of us together, all together. And Emily's like, yeah, okay.
So where's my invite? Where should I meet y'all?
Hey, are you guys still there? I'm on the way. I don't know where you guys are, but you just drop a location. We hung out. It was great. Nashville was ice cold. That even walking out the airport, I had PTSD in LA because I was, I had to like get a pea coat, all these things. I'm walking out. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be freezing. And it's like 70 degrees, and that was I don't know how you guys do that in Nashville, and it's snowing in Florida of all things, but whatever.
Snowing in Florida is crazy.
Yeah, it's the Panhandle. That's Southern Alabama. I mean,
Florida, Bama.
It's literally like New Orleans to the right. I mean, it's not. It's like.
But even snow in New Orleans is crazy.
Yeah,
10 inches on Bourbon Street. That's wild. That's first time
hell freezing over.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of people online going, "Ooh, what's up with this global warming?" And I'm like, okay, y'all.
Yeah.
I know you're baiting us, but it's climate change. It's the seesaw is getting more extreme.
Don't take the bait, bro. Yeah. Don't take it.
Yeah.
Dude, Derek, I saw you comment on Kev on Stage's post about this, and you've said kind of a similar thing, but like Kev on Stage posted a few days ago, he's just like, you know what, this year, y'all got it. Like I'm good. I understand. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Like, I understand, but y'all got it. And Derek, I saw you say, hey, we're on the same wavelength. And I was like, I'm liking it too. I'm going, that's it. Y'all got it. I don't need to tell this person that it's not about global warming.
Y'all got it.
Y'all got it. It's good.
If y'all ever hear me say y'all got it, I'm done.
It's mentally fried.
That is the black man's equivalent to no mas. You remember when that boxer was fighting? He goes, no mas. That's me.
Don't worry about it. You got it. Yeah.
Y'all got it.
What's the white people version of that?
Well, yeah, what do white people say when they say y'all got it?
We're all good and dandy.
I'm taking it. I'm taking y'all got it. It's like, hey.
My name's Bennett and I ain't in it. Is that it?
That's all, folks.
My name's Wes and I ain't in this mess. Is that? Dude, I think we found a question of the week. What do you say when you're over it?
Yeah. What do you say when you're over it?
Because I'm not trying to say like you aren't valid in being upset about the thing you're upset about. But you know what? I've been around the block a few times. I was upset about that 5 years ago. I was upset about that 10 years ago. The sun still is up and the earth keeps rotating. Y'all got it. Y'all can fight this fight.
I'm gonna clue y'all in since I'm the black translator for most of the people that's relevant. All right, listen, white people. I'm gonna tell you the phrase of all phrases. If you ever hear a black person say, "If you like it, I love it," whatever you're doing, reverse, because it's not going in, and that's what I am right now in America. It's like, if you like it, I love it. Like it's I'm not tripping. Like, so, but listen, if your black friend, if you come outside and y'all going to a party, y'all going to hang out without one of your other friends, and you say, "Hey, go look at this outfit. Tell me what you think." And if that person says, "If you like it, I love it," you're wearing the ugliest thing they've ever seen. They just don't want to tell you that it's ugly.
One of the proudest moments I've ever had in the group chat went unnoticed, and it was months ago. And Prop was saying something, and I said to him, "Hey man, if you like it, I love it." To not pick a fight, and he just like moved on. He moved on after that.
He knew what
like,
it was.
Yeah.
He knew what it was. That's the end of the line.
He's just like, I know, it was great.
You got it.
It worked. Anyway. All right, well, we have a great show in store for you. Now that we're all together virtually, we're all back together. Emily is included in this episode. It's
Sorry,
great. Marty's not excluding anybody. We have a great show coming up.
And we gotta be careful. We walking into cancel territory.
Yeah. Marty's not ruining the whole vibe while he's
everybody's on the edge right now. There's a lot going on. We got a lot of stuff happening in a lot of places. Let's not teeter the line of canceling people.
I was raised by a Karen, okay? So I can hold a grudge against someone if I need to.
Dude, she was white knuckling that grudge yesterday, y'all. When she found out that you two were hanging out, she was like holding on so tight. And I was like, Emily.
You know how they always say, like, if I win the lottery, there'll be signs? There were signs that Emily, she kept calling me Farty. And she's like, I'm sorry, it's autocorrect. I'm like, Farty? Who's Farty?
Microaggressions.
Like, why does she keep calling me Farty? I don't get it.
She's like, I'll forgive you, but I don't forget. And I'm like, no, you hold on to that grudge, Emily.
I am really good about, I will forgive because I'm a good Christian. But again, raised by a Karen, so I will not be forgetting anything you've ever done wrong. So
I don't like.
You
that.
can take that
Antichrist tendencies.
Emily, please forgive me. Don't forgive.
Actually,
Marty.
I do think most of my beef is with Derek. So
good.
What?
Just pass
Why is it with me?
If I'm being completely honest with you, the plot twist was he was like, "Just don't tell Emily. Just don't tell her we're here. Don't tell her we're here. Please don't tell her we're here."
Hey, daily, Emily will say to me, "That's going in the file." Literally, I'll say something. She'll be like,
going in the file.
That's
hilarious.
I love that.
It's
She's holding on.
I had to buy a whole new computer because that file was getting real big to put it up.
All right, well, we have a great show in store for you coming up. We talked to Johnnyswim. They have a new album out. We love those guys. They were on the cover of the magazine, I think, in 2019. Johnnyswim's coming up. Also, at the end of the show, we have a game with the guys. It's called Hot Mic Hot Takes. Oof. So here's the deal. Back in the day, Jesse, Tyler would come visit. We'd hang out in the hot tub late at night. We'd be talking and like we'd get into some hot takes territory. We'd bring it on to the show and we jokingly called it Hot Tub Hot Takes. And I was like, Emily, we should bring back Hot Tub Hot Takes. And she's like, I don't feel comfortable being in a hot tub with the three of y'all. And so I was like, all right, let's call it Hot Mic Hot Takes. So that's what's coming up at the end of the show.
Especially when I'm beefing with 2 out of the 3 of y'all. So.
Yeah. There's not the time for laughing.
Stay tuned after this break. It's Relevant Buzz. All right, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily. We got some good stories.
We do, yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is Monday night this week was the National College Championship between Ohio State and Notre Dame. And throughout this season, we've been talking a lot about how faith has been a really big part of the conversation around football. Like there's just so many outspoken people. So I think it's kind of fitting that the 2 colleges in the final were Notre Dame and Ohio State. And those are 2 colleges that have been really at the center of this faith and football conversation that we've been having. If you remember at the beginning of the season, we reported that there was a massive baptism service on Ohio State's campus that was led by 4 football players.
Yeah, like these guys were like, that was our first dipping our toe into the sports conversation because we don't really cover sports, but it was like okay, there's a revival on a college football team. What? So we covered that and it went viral like when we posted it. So it's like, oh, maybe people are interested in this. But yeah, Ohio State, a team that I loathe, is all loving Jesus, and I'm very conflicted about it. So anyway, what's the story about the championship game?
The championship was on Monday night, and it was a pretty intense one. But Ohio State won. But what really caught my eye, because I don't actually care about the game, was afterwards ESPN. They even noticed how faith impacted this game and the whole season in general. And we actually have a clip again from ESPN of Scott Van Pelt and Reese Davis talking about how faith has been a really big part of the season.
I was glad you asked about that, because they've talked so much about that and how much they leaned into faith. But then ultimately, because I had a coach that used to say the other team prays too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It comes down to being able to do it on the field. And I think that's what impressed me most about Ohio State is they had a bunch of guys that could have left, right? The portal allows you to stay. And they're going to be well rewarded. They're going to be drafted high. But it seems that both faith in above and faith in one another is what got Ohio State through. As you talk to them, what did they share about that?
That was something Emeka Ibuka and I talked about this when I went to visit with Ryan Day and several of the players before the Tennessee game, a few days before that. And, look, we hear a lot of times people talk about their faith and people sort of dismiss it. These guys were sharing their faith and reaching out and baptizing guys on campus, not just football teammates. And it became something powerful to them, not because they thought it was going to be handed to them to win a game, but it changed their relationships, and it changed selfishness and made it go away. It was impactful for them. Didn't mean they were going to guarantee they were going to win. And Notre Dame had a lot of that going on as well.
Of course.
You heard Marcus talk about that a lot this year, that it made guys selfless. And I think that's the power in it. It's not, some magical thing they're going to go down and hand you the trophy if you do it. It just helps you maybe relate to your teammates differently.
Talk about it.
Like I said, it's just kind of crazy even on ESPN, which is not a faith media outlet or whatever. They are just supposed to be talking about football, but even they recognize faith is obviously a big part of these players' lives, and it's impacting their game.
It's awesome.
And we posted the Notre Dame quarterback right before the championship game. He was like, I'm more about Christ than championships. I'm just, da-da-da. And I was like, after the game, I was like, good thing he has that perspective that he's more about Christ than championships, because he didn't get a championship.
That's terrible.
But he still has Jesus.
It's true.
That's dirty work.
True,
that is dirty work, brother.
I was rooting for the Catholics. I don't like Ohio State, but I guess all the Protestants with their baptisms won,
Rooting for all the redheads. Come on now.
Oh, well. All right, what else you got?
All right, next thing I want to talk about is a story that I personally find really interesting. We actually report about it on the site, and it's kind of blowing up on our Instagram still. So there's this Christian artist named Victory Boyd who filed a copyright infringement complaint against Travis Scott, accusing him of stealing her song. And she posted a pretty lengthy video about it on her social media explaining where she came from, or where she's coming from with this lawsuit. Basically what happened is that in 2019, she says she was part of this writing team for Kanye West when he was working on Jesus is King. During that time, she wrote a song called Like the Way It Sounds. And honestly, it's a really great faith song, but it ultimately wasn't used by Kanye for that album. And that happens. I mean, y'all know all the time, writers make tons of songs, get scrapped, or just don't make it for whatever reason.
All the time.
Well, then a few years goes by, and in 2023, Victory heard parts of that song on a Travis Scott track called Telekinesis. And she says that she did not give him permission to use that, and she was really confused kind of how he had access to that, it seems. And so she is suing, like I said, for copyright infringement. And we're going to play the clips of her demo and the Travis Scott song so that you can hear for yourself. It's pretty obvious that these are the same songs. So here's the clips.
In 2019, I moved to a cabin in the mountains of Cody, Wyoming on a whim to write music for Ye. I wrote probably 100 songs, and maybe 5 of them have seen the light of day. I gave my very best effort to every individual word, line, and cadence, sometimes spending hours crafting just one line. After a certain point of seeing my carefully crafted work be scrapped and truncated, I decided that I no longer am writing songs for Ye, but rather I'm writing songs for Jesus. I even climbed to the top of this rock and spent a day writing a song to the Lord. With all the same effort and meticulous attention to detail that I put towards creating work that would be pleasing to Yeh, I decided to switch my focal point and apply the same effort towards creating works of art that would be pleasing to my Lord Jesus. And once I did that, suddenly I had assurance that my work was not in vain. And even if another soul never heard what I created, I knew that God did, and that he treasured each and every word that I wrote for him. I wrote a couple versions of a song called Future Bounce. The intention was that this song describes a house party in heaven. When we all make it to heaven, we're going to be doing this dance called the Future Bounce. That was the original idea. Anyways, in November 2019, which was 1 month after finishing and releasing the hit album Jesus is King, of which I wrote lyrics for several of the songs, Yeh wanted to immediately create more gospel music, and so I got back to work. I happened to film myself recording a snippet of this version of Future Bounce.
Do you like the way it sounds? Hear the bass playing so loud. Faith in Jesus, I'm sold out. Miracles wash away the doubts. Drumline drops, do you like the way it sounds? Heaven raining down, pouring all over the crowd. All my sins I renounce, 'cause I'm gonna see the future of the bounce. Hear the trumpets playing loud. Faith in Jesus, I'm sold out. Miracles wash all away the doubts. He can show up unannounced. Do you like the way it sounds?
It was this later version, however, that I created that Travis Scott stole.
I can see the future is looking like we leveled through the sky. I can't wait to live in glory of eternal paradise. Won't you wash my sins and write my name inside the book of life? Might as well turn up now. He can pop up unannounced. Till the trumpets, do you like the way it sounds? Down payment all in my account. Gonna wear the crown. Holy Ghost falling on the crowds. We gon' see him coming in the clouds. Do you like the way it sounds? Choir singing so loud. Faith in Jesus, I'm sold out. Miracles wash away the doubts. Drumline drops, do you like the way it sounds?
Suddenly, 4 years after creating it, I find a distorted version of my work in a song called Telekinesis. 3 times in this song, Travis Scott repeats the chorus that I wrote.
I can see the future. I can't wait to live in glory and eternal love. Won't you take the wheel and I recline in our system. Might as well turn up now. You can pop up unannounced to the trumpets. Do you like the way it sounds?
Not once did anyone ask me or consider to inquire of my participation in this song. My answer would have been no. I wrote this song for God, and to the extent that Yeh was working for God, I was working for Yeh.
Okay, so here's the thing that, obviously we posted this because she posted it. So it's a 7 or 8 minute video. We posted it on our Instagram, kind of told her story, posted on the website. And it's like Emily said, it's kind of blown up. And I've noticed the comments, there's a lot of debate in the comments, and we have 2 producers and musicians with us. So I have a question for you guys. So a lot of the people who said in the comments that they are in the music industry and they work in the industry, they're like, listen, we don't know the contract she signed. Okay, if she's up there in Cody, which she is, she's writing for Jesus is King, and she's writing demos and recording her own demos and all this kind of stuff, and then it's not used, she goes back and she's doing her own singer-songwriter stuff. She's writing, producing, and performing her own stuff. And then Travis takes her song. She's suing, saying, he changed it. It was a worship song. It was about Jesus. He made it perverted. I'm not okay with that. I'm taking a stand.
Mm-hmm.
people in the comments are saying, we don't know the contract she signed. It's very likely that Kanye owned everything she wrote, used or not used, for Jesus is King. And Kanye had a right to give it to Travis because they obviously collaborate and different things like that. What is, obviously, without hearing the rebuttal and knowing what the contract said, talk to us, educate us non-music people. It's like, is this common? Is this a thing of like songwriters get their stuff taken and resold and resold and resold? They have no say? Or do you have some sort of say of where it ends up?
Not in my experience.
It happens a lot in the major league, in the major.
You're saying
in the majors for sure. Well, because she wrote Close on Sunday.
I would say what happened, maybe people aren't suing because they don't want to sue Travis Scott, but I don't know if it's happening legally. I'll put it that way.
Well, she wrote Close on Sundays. She wrote God Is, and she wrote Water with this guy named Ant Clemens, who's an incredible writer as well. I follow him. Here's my thought. And in majors, a lot of times they would have producers who were trying to get credit. So like Derek knows this way better than I do, but I'll say my 2 cents. So a lot of artists, when they sign publishing deals, they'll sign for like 3 or 4 songs, right? Doesn't feel like a lot, but what the label is asking from you is 400% of the songs, right? So that could mean 20 years. It could mean you did 10 songs and you only have 10% of those, and that's now 1 song. You hear what I'm saying? So people get stuck in these contracts that go very, very long. So I don't know the situation that she might have had, but I will say the reason I'm telling you that is because when I was in majors, people would always try to land stuff with us because it could be they could get out of their contract a little sooner. And to be frank with you, I have, for friends, used songs so they can get out of their contract because, they wanted to get out. And so I'm not 100% of this, but I have in the past, I've gotten songs from a lot of mainstream big guys that were demos from these artists who just wanted to get their publishing cleared, like Vic Mensa, or there's a couple other really, really talented writers that I got some stuff from, and I was like, wow, can I use this? He doesn't even know who I am, but he's, I could use it. So I personally think that because she is publishing on all those songs, and they're all different. So they've negotiated each of those publishing rates. If it was Kanye West and he was just buying it, I don't know if she would get, Derek, would she get publishing? If it was a buyout, I don't think so. She probably wouldn't get publishing. So the fact that it transferred to like 2 other people, she has a serious case. And if she's suing them, she knows you guys didn't have my authority and I didn't, and her lawyers are taking it to court.
That's
Why
my
would they
thing.
even waste their time?
A lawyer wouldn't waste their time if she didn't have a credible.
angle.
Yeah, me too. Like, I think it's credible because a lawyer took it up, right?
Yeah, my angle is we don't know her contract, but she definitely does. And to sue a major corporation, because you're going to be suing Universal along with the artists involved, that means you have to be smart enough to know whether you're in a publishing deal and you haven't completed it yet. Like a lawyer is going to look at that and say, hey, well, here's these requirements. Yeah. So I don't think that angle is what's happening, which that happens all the time. A person says, hey, I'm in I got a 1-song deal, but that you might have 20% here, 10% there on each song. Now you still got 70% of songs to recoup. So it's a publishing thing, but I don't think that this is that. I think this is infringement.
Talk to me about like Travis Scott's perspective, not him personally, maybe, but like the producers that put his album together. So he knows this isn't his. Why would he put that on his album? Like, she's also
because he thought he could get away with it.
Or communication was just really, really bad. And that also happens.
But my thing, Derek, is that real? Like an artist that's so big, like I'm untouchable. This is a small person, small songwriter. I can take what I want.
No, I don't. You don't even got to be big to do that. That's just somebody who's brazen enough to say, "I don't care." Like
easier to ask forgiveness and permission, kind of a thing. I'm going to do it.
There you go. And then when you think about how Kanye's albums and Travis albums be coming out. Like they come out like no one knows what's happening. No paperwork's done. They just do it all on the back end. So it's like, it's no telling how the paperwork, how messy it was and all of that. True. It's not uncommon. I would say this, it's not uncommon to put out even albums without clearances on it because there's assumed clearance.
And so he assumed because she's Kanye's songwriter, it'll be easy. She'll sign off.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
she said, I wrote this to glorify Jesus. You perverted it. I'm not going to sign off on it. She's putting her foot down. That's the way it comes off to me.
So if my assumption is, oh yeah, this is old girl. Yeah, I got this song from the writers camp. It's Victory. Oh man, she probably gonna be happy to get another placement.
100%.
Because any other artist would be happy to get a Travis Scott placement. So there's no assumption that I need to get this all cleared up. So that's what I probably think happened is just albums coming out. Yeah, she'll clear it. It is what it is. Whatever. You know, but her saying
no,
I don't want to clear it at all for moral reasons creates the problem. Yeah. Most of the time it's like, oh, they want 10%. All right, give them 10. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, or give them some extra money. But this is a moral thing. So there's no money to be exchanged. I think that happened. That's what I would.
Two other things could have happened as well, where number one, the label will, like, she's very confident she's going to win. Let me tell you something. It's going to take 10 years for her to even see money. Because they're going to stall, like, just rando, right? You think about Flame, he sued Katy Perry for a song that to me didn't sound similar. I didn't see it. That's just
but
me,
he won.
He won though, but then she won again. She overturned it, I think.
Yeah, they appealed it and won the appeal.
Yeah, so, and he had to hire people, and I mean, he's talking about, I don't think he won that technically, but my point is that took like 7 years to do. And we're talking about $1 million over 7 years. You know, that lawyer is going to pretty much take that amount of money because the people he has to hire. But I could tell you, you're going against a $1 billion company. You're the little guy. It's hopefully they could settle out of court sooner than later. But I would agree, it's definitely a moral thing. And she just didn't want to put out a song that she wrote for Jesus is King for a song with SZA that's talking about sex, you know? So this is probably the first time I've ever seen something like this where, well, I've in the past, I've seen things where people didn't want to clear a song because they're a Christian and they didn't clear the beat, so they just redid it. This is actual words, lyrics that they stole from somebody. It's a little bit, demo. You know, there was a song that was happening with Drake that he leaked, and the guy was like, I just got saved, I'm not letting you. And it was like a dirty song, but he was like, I got saved since I've released that. You sampled it, please do not put it out. And they couldn't put it out because he just didn't want to clear it because he's a believer.
The crazy thing to me in all this, that's interesting. Thank you for your insights. This is the confusion that I had, but understanding that like a certain caliber of artists clear stuff after the fact, that's interesting to me. And I'm sure that's probably what happened here.
Drake does that. Yeah.
Oh, it's not even a certain caliber of artist.
Yeah.
It's local artists. It's just art. It's creatives. Yeah. Man, it's so many different pieces moving. It's very few people that are like, all right, I got all my paperwork done on the front end.
100%.
It's just that doesn't happen all the time. I'm talking about majors, indie or whatever.
The crazy thing to me is with the part of her video where she tells the story of the commercial, the AP, the luxury watch brand. I can't pronounce it. French name, AP.
Audemars.
Yeah. Thank you. They reached out to her because they heard her demo, her original demo of Travis's song. They liked her demo better than they liked Travis's song. So for the commercial with Travis, they wanted to use her demo because it was cool and different. She said, absolutely not.
Wow.
And they did it anyway. They released a multi-million-dollar commercial campaign with her demo, not Travis's song, her track. And they released it. And I'm going, they knew what they were doing.
To me, that's a bigger fumble. That to me is an absolute.
That's the crazy
and
part.
There's a lot more money probably in her suing for that.
That's what I'm saying.
There's way more money in her suing for that than Travis.
Oh, she's already sued them.
Yeah, it's double. It's Travis and AP. She's selling. Yeah, it's suing.
Yeah, but there's the assumption also. There's an assumption here probably that either she just doesn't have it, like she doesn't have the backing to be able to sue.
Right.
There has to be that kind of assumption, or that, hey, she's in a work for hire type situation. Work for hire means you're an employee as opposed to a actual
I own what I created. Yeah.
Right. Instead of I own what I created and I get a percentage because you're licensing my piece. Work for hire is like, hey, you work for me. I paid you an hourly wage for this. And that's that. So there must be some sort of assumption here
Crazy.
And we'll see who's
So
right.
don't buy APs.
But-
if y'all have 50 grand that you want to get a watch with.
Not even 50, man.
Don't get AP. Don't get AP.
Just give it to me.
Stand up.
Just give me the 50 grand.
Stand up for Jesus and don't buy APs. That's all we're saying.
Your flex will be, hey, I gave Derek Minor 50 grand. Flex like that.
I kind of feel though, like, why would she not, like, I mean, I get it. She's trying to, like, I just don't know her even mindset of saying, I don't want to get a commercial, considering, like, you're a musician. When you want the music that you make that glorifies God to be heard on a massive scale.
Watch her video. It is a Jesus situation. She's like, I wrote this to glorify my Savior. I did not write this to
Only
glorify
Christians can
Travis
hear it.
Scott's lifestyle. Not just Christians. She wrote it for Jesus King. She wrote it for Kanye, but she's like, I didn't write it to sell
That's
watches.
not the lifestyle.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm not going to glorify this lifestyle. I don't want to make money from that. She's like, I want to make money glorifying Jesus. So
Jesus is King Kanye is much different from Utopia Travis Scott.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Utopia Travis Scott is just debauchery.
If you want to get
every angle is debauchery. So it's like I could get when a person's like, no, this was a worship song. You're not gonna take my worship song and turn it into debauchery. Like I definitely applaud her for standing up. You know what I mean? Like it's like if that's what she feels, if that's her conviction, I applaud her. I don't know how fruitful it's gonna be, but I think it's important in this. I also think this. That sometimes you got to stand up for yourself, whether it's financially beneficial or not.
That's a good point right there.
Like I honestly just feel that way. Sometimes it's like I'm gonna take a loss on this. I'm probably gonna lose, but at least I'm gonna stand up because I'm gonna let y'all know you're not gonna just kick me in the face. So I can respect that as well.
I mean, she's a Grammy-winning artist. I mean, like she is so talented, and honestly, I'll be honest with you, Derek. I know you love Kanye. Pre-anti-Semitic Kanye. I understand.
Who doesn't love him?
But I'm just saying, when I heard her songs for Jesus is King, I was like, Kanye is just doing karaoke. Kanye is just singing her.
If you want to get,
Kanye's been doing karaoke.
If you want to get technical,
time.
if you really want to get technical, we can take it like to the next level. I think 9 of those songs from Jesus is King were already done, and they're on an album called Yandi that he finished basically, and the same songs that's like, Jesus, we glorify you. There's a dirty version of them. He just cleaned it up. So technically, like it's a rewrite of a rewrite of a, like there's so many rewrites. I could see how somehow this got lost in translation, but it's not right. And this happens so frequently, especially with the label and the manager talking, trying to do white sheets and then trying to track people down and trying to clear it before you're trying to release schedule. It gets so sticky, but unfortunately, this probably won't be settled to 2030.
Yeah. All right, Emily, what's last thing?
Last thing I want to talk about is some exciting news for some people, which is that Duck Dynasty is back. It was
Derek, you strike me as a big Duck Dynasty fan from 2010.
No, I ain't gonna lie. I did used to rock with old dude with the cup. The little dude that had the cup in his back pocket, the skinny one.
I don't remember
the name.
The uncle. I think he's the uncle.
Sai, the crazy one with the funny sayings. Sai.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he's funny.
He's funny, but I mean, outside of that, I wasn't paying much attention.
I went on tour with them with Sadie Robertson. I met them all. They're all really kind people.
They seem like
they're
nice
still
people.
the same person. Like they're still like in dirty clothes. Like like he's
their camo.
Like I'll be honest with you, I remember eating and her father was there, and I was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And I just shook his hand, and I don't know much about that show because I'm not white. Yeah. But the thing is, I shook his hand, and I remember him having his phone on him. And you never seen like your dad's like phone that really doesn't care about iPhones, but it has like there's a plastic filter over it, but it's like ripped apart. It's like he just like he's a multimillionaire, but he's like the same person. And I was laughing. I'm like, man, you might have too much money to have that cover on that phone. He's watching a football game. He's just laughing, but he's like their family just stuck in time, and they're like, I don't care about money. Like it's the funniest thing.
I love it.
Dude, I'll tell you,
I love that even more.
So they're bringing it back, and Willie Robertson signed a development deal with A&E, so it's not just going to be Duck Dynasty come back, but he's going to be doing a lot of new original programming, like the whole gamut, almost like Chip and Jo over at Discovery. Not just home renovation shows, but just like everything. Exactly, but. Willie, I was out in Montana one year and Willie was on my trip And I'll tell you, I love playing poker. I have never played poker with somebody more competitive than Willie Robertson. This man will take all your money and point at you in your face and laugh at you. I mean, like, he is evil at the poker table, and I love him. I love him, but he took too much of my money.
I love it.
Took way too much of my money, and I'm bitter. So I want to rematch, Willie, if you're listening. All right.
Hey, I want to watch. Let me be the commentator.
Let's all go to Vegas. Vegas. It's too much. Sorry.
All right. Well, that'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering more stories like that, the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Thanks, Emily. All right. Stay tuned. After this break, Johnnyswim joins us. Well, our guests today are Abner and Amanda Ramirez. You know them as Johnnyswim. They're back with a brand new album. It's called When the War Is Over. And according to them, it's their most vulnerable yet. They talked with Emily about overcoming physical and emotional challenges over the last several years. And they've even got some majorly helpful advice on how to deal with some of your own struggles. Here's our conversation with Johnnyswim.
Spin the tables, roll the dice. We'd have each other every time. Not just in this life, but in thousands. I've surrendered to the pull, the knot that keeps me tied to you. We've got love enough for this life and for thousands.
Well, it's exciting to talk with you guys today because it's been a few years since y'all released new music. I'm curious, what have y'all been up to over these last few years?
Oh boy, what hasn't been going on? This album definitely was, I think we always try to write honestly about what we're dealing with, whether, it's grief or, things in our career or in our relationships with each other, our relationship with each other, our relationships with our friends. This album started in a season where Abner was dealing with depression for the first time, which of course, like anytime you're dealing with somebody having depression, it's like horrible for him, and it's also horrible for the people that are watching them. And then as he was, kind of healing from that, I started diving into a health journey where my health was deteriorating, and there was a lot of, fear and sadness and isolation, going along with that. So this album really encompasses a lot and is, I think probably the most diary entry of any album that we've done. And I think most of the time with albums too, you write a song and then you kind of go, do we like it? Do we not? Maybe we change this word. Maybe we don't. And I think we were both just in a place of like, we just need to get this out. And it may not be like, we're not going to overthink it. This is what we have to give today, and that feels really good, because it just felt like it was time for that for us.
I'll drive 'cause your precious cargo won't stop until tomorrow in my Monte Carlo. Feel the sunlight that we bought.
Now, how would you say creating this music helped you deal with those challenges that you were facing?
One thing we've learned writing songs together and living life together, we've been together for almost, this year will be 20 years. We count from our first kiss. It was October 1st, 2005. We were babies, like straight up smooching in kindergarten, which is crazy. It'll be 20 years this year. And one thing that's crazy about having not just a career, but a life together, especially a life where you've built so much art together, is you get to look back at it a lot and you learn a lot in retrospect. And one of the things we've learned, sometimes uncomfortably, is that we've discovered how we really feel about things. We oftentimes don't have the words to process tragedy, triumph, trauma, the big T's, until we write a song about it. The words for losing our parents, the words anticipating good things, the words, so often we're now looking back, singing songs live, and we'll look at each other and have these big eyes like, oh my gosh, did you realize what I just said? We wrote that 5 years before this thing, but we were like predicting something, or, in the process of writing a song. The cool thing about where we are now in our career, in our experience, is that we can anticipate that a little bit. So sometimes we would sit down to write for this album, and we would know consciously, where before maybe it was a subconscious understanding, that we got to write about this thing because it's got to get out. And this happens to be our skill set that we can use for therapy. We have a great therapist. Shout out Tim Long, Kainos Christian Therapy in Beverly Hills, California. He's a but we also have songwriting as a form of therapy for ourselves, and to put language and creative imagery to feelings and experiences. And sitting down for this album, we flexed that muscle internally, the biggest we ever have. We knew we had it and we knew we needed it. All right, let's go. Let's talk about it.
Definitely sounds like y'all have learned a lot going through both physical and emotional struggles yourselves. I'm curious, what advice do you have for someone who's maybe going through a similar season right now?
I think the first thing I'd say, I think because of my experience, this has been so helpful, is find a therapist that you love and trust and you communicate with well. And I think that's more than just one session. You might find a bunch of folks that you don't connect with or resonate with. But I was raised Southern Baptist, and in the church, if you go to therapy because you're broken and you got to fix something dire, or because you don't trust Jesus enough, like there's such a stigma on asking for help in general because you got to hide it behind the cross. Don't you trust Jesus? You know, and you bury stuff and you bury stuff and you bury stuff. But man, when you squeeze a ketchup bottle, doesn't matter how far down it is, you squeeze it enough, the ketchup's going to come out. You know what I mean? So all that trauma, all that loss, all that fear is going to come out somewhere. And a tool that I'm so grateful to have in my life is to have a professional that I can talk to and walk through things. Because so often I think also something hurts so much that you want to avoid it. And in avoiding it, you don't get rid of anything and you don't process anything. You do literally that. You avoid it. And so the only way over something oftentimes is through it. And so I'd say number one, therapist, for sure. Number two, the people that you love, the people that you're close to, be honest with them. Like, I think one of my favorite things I've learned in these years of my life, recent years of my life, is my trust in my faith. I'll just say it, trust in God, where I trust his judgment, and I don't mean that as judgmental. I mean like his forethought. I trust God's forethought and his plan. I trust his plan, right? But also trust his justice. So if there's something that feels like it was unjust, a loss, I trust that he has in mind justice, that it's not all lost, that he'll restore what the locusts have eaten. I really believe that feeling oftentimes, and we've lost friends, mental health, that have unalived themselves, one in particular. And if I could say anything to him, I would tell him to talk to somebody, that there's nothing too dark, there's nothing too ferocious that is unapproachable. You are beautiful as you are. You are approachable. Every bit in you, every gross, disgusting thing you hate about yourself is lovable. The darkest corner of your thought, the darkest corner of your brain is lovable. It is so lovable and it wants to be embraced. And not only do I believe there's a God that wants to embrace it, but I believe your friends and your family would embrace that with you as well. As unapproachable as you may feel, you are approachable. And even more so than that, you are loved and lovable. And one thing that's helped me a lot too in deep moments of pain is to know that this moment does pass, and it's a simple thing, but just a reminder, I cannot feel like this forever. So that's another thing that's just helped me, and I've spoken too much.
I was going to say, I know for me that was a big thing, because really, you know, when you're in the midst of whatever overwhelming feeling you have, and especially if it's been prolonged, right? Like, especially if you're like, I have felt this way for years. It's easy to think this is how I'm always going to feel. This is how it's always going to feel. And that's just not true, you know? And so for me, one of the things I would say to Abner a lot is no dark corners, which meant in my heart, in my mind, there's nothing that I have to be afraid to approach in myself. So if I'm afraid of dying, which for me was a big thing when I was dealing with health stuff, was like, I need to just go and just bring some light there and go, okay, let me feel that. Let me feel like, why is that scary? Let me just approach it. I don't have to come with any like clear thought or like answers. Just like, let me look at it with curiosity and not feel like it's going to drown me, because it's not going to drown you. It's just a thought. And to really know, like, and maybe this is like not as helpful to some people, but it was helpful to me. Kate Bowler, right? Or Bowler has a book called No Cure for Being Human. And she has another book called Have a Beautiful, Terrible Day. And it was kind of the thing that I clung to a lot during that time was I can hold both things. I can hold that like my life is beautiful and I have a wonderful marriage and like adorable kids who I love and who love me so well. And I get to live in a beautiful place and, you know, and I get to do a job that I love. And also this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And this is the hardest time of my life. And this feels overwhelming. And I can hold both of those things and realize that in my humanness, I get to see a part of God that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. Because I think when everything's kind of going great and everything feels manageable, you know, I think God can be like, yay, God. But there's a different side of the Holy Spirit. And there's a different side of the Lord when you're in a dark place and you realize the humanness of God too. You realize the empathy and you realize that thing that goes, yeah, this is horrible. This sucks. I'm going to be, you know, we're going to do this together, but like, yeah, this is horrible. And now when somebody else comes to you and says, I'm dealing with this, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You can sit there and go, oh yeah. And just sit with them and go, yeah, I know. And that itself is beautiful. And that itself is God. That is heaven on earth, you know, as much as we can really experience heaven and suffering at the same time.
And if I could give one piece of advice to the advice givers, truly. No, I'm not kidding. This is.
You didn't realize this question was going to be.
She said you didn't realize this question was going to have a million answers. If I could give a note to myself, to my future self, future Abner, if you hear this, and when you hear this, when somebody approaches you and they're having a hard time and they're really struggling, Abner, don't fix it. Even if there is a solution that you feel is right there, take a second to feel with people, because I think more often than not, now having been, I've so often felt like the person trying to fix people or answer questions or problem solve, and in this season we've both been the people hurting, and how the value in just being heard is maybe more than half the battle before we jump to like fix somebody or give them a solution. What Amanda's saying, there's so much compassion in that. I feel like compassion is like such a key point in growth and in change and in finding light in darkness. And so often compassion sounds like silence and it looks like a hug. Oh man, I'm sorry you're going through that. And this term kind of has been co-opted, but holding space for that person's pain. Hold my pinky. Sorry, Wicked reference. Wicked press tour reference, which is a deep cut. Here we go.
And I know comparison is the thief of joy, yet I built my home in the shadow of a frame.
That was Johnnyswim. Make sure to check out their new album, When the War is Over. All right, stay tuned. Up next, we've got Hot Mic, Hot Takes.
In my head.
Well, Relevant has a lot happening this year, and we don't want you to miss a thing. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter right there on the front page at relevantmagazine.com, and we'll send you our top 5 trending stories sent to your inbox every weekday. We'll also send you a weekly podcast newsletter with the latest episodes, some fan extras, and first peeks at the new shows that we're going to be rolling out throughout this year. Make sure to sign up. It's the best way to keep in touch with everything we got going on. Okay, it's time for... Hot Mic, Hot Takes. We're skipping the hot tub this time for Emily, and we're just doing Hot Mic, Hot Takes. So there you go. All right, I'm just going to ask you guys. I'm going to say some stuff. And I want to know your takes, your hot takes on some of the stuff that we pulled together. Here we go.
Woo. All right, let's get it.
Group chats blowing up when you're trying to sleep, which is what happened to me last night with y'all. my sleep focusing didn't click on, and I went to bed early. Ding, ding, ding. 54 texts later, I woke up to 54 texts. Group chats blowing up when you're trying to sleep. Give me your hot take on that.
Doesn't affect me because my phone is on mute 24/7.
How do you live your life like that? How do you live your life like that? Like, are people not? I know I'm calling you. That's why you never answer on the first ring, because you always have your phone on mute.
I'll get to it later.
I would say, I mean, if the group chat has gone on and I wake up to 54, which has happened in our group chat,
Yeah.
I'm not reading it. I'm sorry. We're just going to start from wherever I started. And so the last text message, and we're just going to move on.
I turned on as an experiment. I have the new iPhone 16 and the AI stuff, and it'll do AI summaries of your text threads. So I woke up and it said 54 was a notification, but it summarized in one thing all the topics y'all were talking about.
That's phenomenal.
I missed it.
Oh, so
It was
that
great.
Is so cool.
I'm about to go get a 16.
That is so cool.
It's a
That
wrap.
is so
That's
cool.
it.
I know.
That's game
for my
changing.
computer. It does it for emails, and I love it. But I didn't know it did that for. That's incredible. Shout out to Apple.
It might be in your new OS. It may work with your phones too. It's just a setting you got to flip on down in your messages in the settings. I'm telling you, game changer for the group chat.
We're gonna take 10 seconds for everybody listening to this podcast to go to messages, and as me and Derek do it.
It was great.
I think that I feel like it only works so if everyone has an iPhone, right? Or does it work on any? Okay,
No,
because
iPhone.
I do have a group chat where there's one person who still has an Android, and we bully her about it all the time. But she refuses to get an iPhone.
I have a basketball group chat that's kind of managed by my brother, and he invites people, and he literally will ask them before, "Oh, I love the Magic. I want to join. This sounds like fun." And he'll be like, "What kind of phone do you have?" He will not add anybody who's not
respect
iPhone.
him so much.
Good for him.
He don't want the green.
Good for
I
him.
respect him.
It's great.
Good for him.
We have pure group chats, only pure group chats.
Yeah, I wish we if we didn't love this friend so much, she probably would be kicked out of the group chat because it really does kind of ruin the group chat experience.
All right, hot mic, hot takes. When people crowd the boarding gate before their group is called.
Ooh, that was me, man.
It's
That was
you?
me. No, that's not me. But that was me yesterday, and I'm like group 2, and everyone's and then I have to like walk by everybody. Sorry, my bad. Excuse me. Like you're all looking. We're all like we all know what number we are. And anyway, I frown upon people. There's something called airport etiquette.
Right.
And most people don't have it because most people don't fly. But there's a couple things that I don't tell people. I shame them with my face. I do this thing where I go like this. And it works every time. Like, let me do it again. Like
It's
one
good.
of those, like roll the lips or this. Wow. That right there.
I've dropped a wow.
The wow
really?
is-
Wow. Wow.
Let me tell you something. The wow could be as powerful as a middle finger.
You're cutting me off? Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Cameron, you just hit it. If someone looking in the rear view sees you do this, that wow, like the wow, they feel shame. They just, you see them like start to like, they look like the penguin from Batman 2 and they just head, no neck, just goes into the shoulders. Yeah. You gotta shame people sometimes.
Okay, airport etiquette. The people who cut and they try to jump into a group that they're not. American Airlines has started right before the holidays. They are now addressing that by shaming those people, and they have a huge buzzer that goes off. So if it's group 2 and you're group 4 and you try to sneak in, and it scans your ticket, it'll go bah, 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 and the person has to go, "Sir, you have to wait for your group," and you have to stand there shamed in front of everybody.
That's worse than a
and
wow.
I'm like, bring it on, American Airlines.
Shame. And then everyone just has to, I'm going to start the culture where we're all like, boo, get back, grandma. Just it's like, I'm sorry.
You throw a can at them.
Yeah. Tomato. Where'd you get that?
On the travel side of things, people who clap when the plane lands. Thoughts?
I'm asleep, so it doesn't matter.
I thought you were about to say, if you like it, I love it.
No. I'm literally actually asleep.
Wow.
So it's like actually, I'm kind of happy for the clapping because it'll wake me up. So it's like
I've never seen that before in my life, and
shut up.
I've never seen a clap before.
It's
I
so
unfortunately
crazy.
have, and every time I'm like, guys, this is so embarrassing. Like,
okay,
Southwest flight to Orlando is gonna have clapping.
Dude, I was just gonna say I've only experienced it 2 different times, 2 different ways. One, a long international flight. Finally, we land after 18 hours. Yeah. Some family is like, "Hey, we're here. Thank God." Okay. But I'm telling you, I live in Orlando. 90% of my flight's home. These families that are finally on vacation, they land in Orlando, they start cheering. And I'm just like, y'all, we're just landed.
I do remember a lot of people clapped when I was on a flight to Las Vegas, and it was a Spirit flight. That time I did understand because I was like, you know what? We almost didn't make it. Because
I was going to say, we're alive. We landed. landed
Spirit
safely.
flights, you really never know
Yeah.
if you're going to make it to that destination or not.
Yeah.
They let you roll down the window. That's just the weirdest airline.
Soul plane. That's what Spirit is.
There's only, you know how like in normal airliners there's 2 pilots and Spirit is only 1. There's just one guy. He can't go to the bathroom. He just is there. Flying the plane.
Hot Mike Hot Takes when someone says we need to hang out but never makes a plan.
Oh, it's never happening. I never assume when somebody's like, yo, let's kick it, and they don't put a date on the books. That's just an awkward way of saying goodbye.
Yes.
Like they're just like they want to say goodbye, but they don't want to say goodbye. So they're like, yo, but let's kick it. Yeah. Just like
Dude, I have so many friends who come through and they're like, hey, I'll be in Orlando this weekend. We should hang out. I'm like, man, that sounds great. And then we never talk again. Like we never, like they're in town. I know you're here. You know I'm here. It's all good. We touch base. That's enough.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I go further. If you don't text me the day or the day before, hey, you can see you tomorrow. Like I'm not showing up. I won't be there. I don't care if we talked about it in detail. If you don't follow up with me, I'm not going to be there. I'm sorry.
I would say I think the only thing worse than that is when you show up in someone's city and you don't even tell them that you're there to hang out with you. So that's probably the worst.
That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal.
Ouch.
The awkwardness of running into someone you know but can't remember their name.
That's always me. Always.
What do you do? What do you do?
I just don't call anybody by their name ever. But that happens to me all. I mean,
hey, big dog.
Hey, what's up, man? So good to see you. And then here's the trick to handling that, right? Because I'm really bad with names. But the trick to handling that is to go so hard about how are you like you hit them with so many questions, they don't even think about it. But the best people would be like, you know, my wife was like, hey, Johnny, what do you, and I'm like, yeah, Johnny, what the heck? You know, like, what do you think? But for the most part, I go so hard. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen you in so long. How are you doing? It's good to see you. How's the family? Your son, right? You have a son? And then that's how I get out of it. But that happened to me 4 times on this trip.
I think being like really country is beneficial in this way because we never call people by their name anyway.
It's true.
Like if I know you, like even if I know your full name and your birthday and your social security number, I'm still gonna call you Bubba. You know what I mean? I'm still like, what up, bruh? What up, man? Like I always hit you with that. It doesn't matter. We be best friends. So I think just being country. It's just like that. That's never a thing for me.
See, I actually am pretty good at remembering names and faces. Like it'll happen every now and then, but I'm pretty good at remembering it because when I used to do youth, there would be times where I would stand near the youth pastor as kids were like coming in for the night, and I could see on his face if he recognized a kid's face or not. And so then I would lean over and be like, "That's Julie. That's Sarah." Like I would like tell him that.
A little Devil Wears Prada, you know.
It really,
when, like,
I was like the assistant with like the mic in
Yeah.
in his ear, being like, "And now entering." Yeah, that's what I did.
Miranda, that is the king, and that's his new wife. From,
Yes.
you know. Yeah, I got
that
you.
that was my whole role as a youth leader.
Or name tags.
Or name
Everyone
tags.
has to wear name tags. Yeah.
Love it. That was a Seinfeld episode.
Yes.
Kramer was advocating that the mayor would run on that policy.
Yep. And he lost because of it. So I just, you know,
It didn't
maybe we
work
weren't
out.
ready then, but ready now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he made everybody in their apartment building do it. Remember, he was doing names and pictures in the lobby, and Jerry was upset because then
They
everybody would
shamed you.
greet Jerry by name. Yeah, he's like,
They
I don't
shame
want
you if
people.
you didn't go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, there's a lot more that came from, but we got to wrap it. So there you go. Hot Mike Hot Takes. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank Johnnyswim for talking to us today. Make sure to check out their new album, When the War is Over. Also, make sure to check out issue 116 of Relevant. It features Nate Bargatze on the cover and a stacked lineup. Everybody from Connor Price to Gallant to Jackie Hill Perry. It just goes on and on. It is stacked. You can read it for free at our site. Just click on the magazine tab. And if you want the beautiful digital magazine experience that you can download and it's perfect for all your devices, sign up for Relevant Plus. Plans start as low as $250 a month. You get the magazine. You get this podcast ad-free. You get ad-free unlimited viewing at relevantmagazine.com. It's the best way to get our content. We think you'll like it. Hey, make sure to follow us on all the socials too. We're announcing stuff. We're doing stuff. You don't want to miss any of it. There you go. All right. On that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Marty.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
If you like it, I love it.
Relevant Podcast Network.